Well, hello, everyone. This is Tracie L James, your business growth strategist. And guess what? You know what I'm here to do. I am here to bring you another amazing female entrepreneur who is out here making things happen. And let me tell you, I've been looking forward to this conversation because this is someone who knew me during my very awkward junior high school days. That's right. Do not be inboxing her on social media after this trying to get pictures or trying to get stories about me in my junior high days, okay? We don't do that. What happened at Blackburn stays at Blackburn, okay? But yes, I am super excited to have the one and only, the diva. And I do mean diva because this sister can sing too, okay? On top of being a sports diva, this woman can sing. Trust me, I can't sing anywhere near the way she can. I have the incomparable Sonja Stamps. That's right. From She Say Sports, the podcast. Yes, she's here, y'all. Yes, she is here. Welcome, gorgeous.
Hey, Tracie, how are you?
I am awesome. I have been so looking forward to getting you on here. Yes.
I have too. What's so weird? It's a little nerve-wracking because I'm the one used to doing the interviewing, not being interviewed. So this is gonna be fun. But before we go any further, she was beautiful at Blackburn, and even though she may not sing like me, I can't dance like her. So. She is little Debbie Allen. I've been calling her that for years.
Well, honey, she been my Whitney Mariah Carey for years, honey.
Oh, no.
Honey, let me just tell y'all something. A few years back, she had a regular set at a local restaurant in Jackson, Mississippi called The Penguin, okay? And whenever I could get there on Thursday night when she was performing, I was there. And I had cash in my pocket. I don't carry cash, y'all, just so you know. Don't carry cash. But I always had cash because there was this one song that when she sang it would do something to me. And do you remember what that song is?
Well, it was actually two, Angel, and I think it was something by Tamia.
Was it The Way You Love Me?
Jill Scott? Yeah. It was Jill Scott. You're right.
I knew it was Angel. I knew it was Angel.
What was so funny how you would, soon as they start playing the music, you would just get up out your seat and politely put the money in the tip jar. And she supported me, especially at the beginning when we first started. Because like she said, it was every Thursday. It was standing room only for like 2 years. And Tracie was there almost every Thursday. So thank you so much, friend, for supporting me. It was really, really nice.
And, it was an amazing experience to see someone that I remember standing in the choir room with Mr. Hawkins, learning how to hit all those high notes, and to see you as a grown woman just flourishing in that space, just was amazing. And I am so proud of you for stepping out there and starting She Say Sports.
Yes, it is. Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
It's been a dream, and I'm so glad to see it coming to reality today. So you all know I have my favorite question that I ask at the top of every interview I do. So let's go and jump on in this. All right.
What is that? Oh, God.
That question is, who are you and why do you do what you do?
Who is Sonja? Sonja is, first of all, I love to have fun. I'm not like a party type chick, but I love to laugh. I enjoy my friends. I'm a supporter. I encourage everybody as much as I can. I'm a daughter. And I'll get into my father, why I wanted to do the interview today. My mother is still alive. I'm an aunt / mommy, because I'm still their mommy too. And why sports, I'll get into that as well later on, but I'm a sports girl and I'm a Chicago sports fan. And I'll get into that as well later, when we go into the story. But I just love being me, and I love me. I love who I am and who I've become in the last few years. It was challenging some ways, and you were there in those challenging years when I moved back from Dallas. So it's been exciting to see how I've become the woman who I am and and most importantly, I'm God's child. I'm his daughter, and people don't like to hear, but I'm his favorite and the apple of his eye. So I'm sure we all are, but I know I am. So so that's who I am.
And let me just say this, y'all. She truly does love to laugh and have a good time. And there are so many stories of the road trips and the football games, the basketball games, the hanging out at each other's houses and going out to eat and all of these different things. And one of the things I love about the podcast is that I still see you in it. And so often I see people put things together and they create this kind of fake facade when they step out because they feel like they need this kind of perfect image. But I love the fact that you infuse all of who you are, your faith, your love of sports, but then also that fun-loving, in a sense, kind of lighthearted way of looking at the world. And I love that. So look, right now, while we're finishing this interview, go ahead, subscribe to the podcast. She say sports, okay? Because you're gonna want to keep up with what she got going on. She got some things majorly happening. So why did you mentioned about why you wanted to do the interview today? I know why, but share with the audience why today is very special to you.
Well, my father, he passed away in 2008, but today is his birthday, February 6th, and he would have been 81 years old. I was a daddy's girl, and he was very intricate in my love for sports. I was a daddy's girl, as I mentioned, and because I was little, I wanted to be around my father all the time. So around probably about 5 years old, I started hanging out with him, watching football, watching basketball, just to be around him. And how I became a Chicago sports fan is because a lot of my father's family lives in Chicago, 2 of his sisters, and a lot of my cousins and his nieces and nephews. So we were there all the time. So I became a Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears fan, have been all my life, even though, it's been some years since we won any type of championship, but I'm diehard, I'm loyal. And so because of him, I became a sports girl, and in probably the late 70s. And it was this young lady that became the first female Black sportscaster, I'm sorry. And Tracie, you know her. She used to do Tab commercials. She was a beauty pageant winner. She was a model. It was Jane Kennedy. And I remembered seeing her on these commercials. And let me tell this real quick. So you remember the Tab commercials, and I know you young people, you're like, what is Tab? Tab was a diet drink in a pink can. Oh yeah. So mind you, I'm a little girl, and I was like, every time the commercial would come on, and then because she was so pretty, and I was like, Grandmama, I'll be at my grandmama's house. I was like, I want a Tab. She was like, Sonja, I'm gonna get you one. Lord, you work. Oh girl, you getting on my nerves. So she got me a Tab. So I'm trying to do the commercial. I get in the mirror and I open it like she did, and I forgot whatever she said, and I drank it and I spit it completely out. Needless to say, that was my last time wanting a Tab. However, and I don't think they make them anymore, but I remember her from the commercials, and I'm in the room with my dad watching football, and I was like, when I saw her, I'm like, she's so pretty. And, she got this microphone and she's talking she was on the sideline. And I was like, oh, Daddy, I want to do that. And he said, you can. And I don't think being a father, being a parent, you'll never discourage your kids, when they're saying they want to do something. So I don't think he really meant it, especially back then. There were no sports degrees, it was not a lot of women doing that. Phyllis George was probably one of the first female sportscasters, and Jane Kennedy actually took her place on CBS. So, and there was a couple of more, but those are the two. Phyllis I remember her because I just remember her more. However, years passed, and early 2000, I was planning to go to law school for a sports entertainment degree. Two things that I love to do. I love entertaining and I love sports. And I was like, why not, get a job that you love doing with something that you enjoy doing? So while I was waiting on my LSAT scores, I was living in Dallas at this time. A young lady told me about a sports management program that was just starting at University of Dallas in Irving. And I applied and got in. And so I went to school for a little while, but I did not finish, and moved back to Jackson the year you and I, when we first started hanging out again. And that's when I found out, matter of fact, when we were in Indiana, I found out Belhaven they had just started a sports program, and that was in 2011. And I applied and got in, and the rest is history.
I remember when you said you were going to start that program, and it was kind of funny because I was like, initially it was like I had forgotten, because we had been apart for a period of time. So when you started talking about sports management, I was like, huh? Why are you doing this? And then it started to come back that, oh, wait a minute. She was the other girl that knew stuff about sports, because I learned about sports sitting on my grandfather's lap.
Right.
Because he was an official. And so when I watched, I never really learned to be a fan of a team. Okay. Never really did, because my grandfather watched it for the love of the game, and he watched it from an official's perspective. So I'm the person nobody liked to watch the game with, because I'm like the officials. If the catch was bad, the knee was down, I'm sorry. I know that's your team. I know you mad because it was a bad call. It was not a bad call. It was a good call. So, so needless to say, I don't get invites to Super Bowl parties like I used to. Because of that. But I know that embracing that love of sports, because of the love of someone near and dear to you. And right. So I'm real excited about having this interview with you on his birthday. And I know that he is in heaven smiling down going, see, I told you, you can do it.
Yeah, you're right. I wish I could talk to him. I have so much to talk to him about, especially, because December was a year since I started the show. And I really would like his input on certain things. However, my cousin Lester in Chicago, which is his nephew, he fills in for my dad, I believe. He looks at he watches it, listens to the interviews because it's a podcast, and he supports me and he gives me critique, and I really appreciate it. I mean, it's been a blessing. It really has, from him.
Yeah, it's always good to have that support within your family and from your friends, because sometimes when you step out and you do something a little different, something that's a little unexpected, people don't necessarily jump on board and are cool with what you're doing. So how have you dealt with, people who have either tried to discourage you from doing what you're doing now, or who just don't really support you? How do you handle that?
Well, when I first started, and you can testify to this as well, sometimes your supporters won't be the people you know. And I've had to learn that most of my supporters are people that are just, not really close to me. When I first started, and I will put my, because every Friday my show comes out, and I will put the show, out or whatever. Now it's amazing. If I put a picture up on social media, I get 1,000 likes, hundreds of comments. But when I put this show up, nobody says nothing. And so it bothered me for a while. And I was like, oh my God, I suck. Nobody's watching, nobody's listening. Why won't they, even like it? What's going on? And so I talked to my producer about it, and he was like, no, they're listening, because he can see on his side the how many people are listening. He was like, they're listening, they may not like it or anything, but it's okay. Don't look at that. Because I was getting discouraged by that. And even with the people that's very close to me, not social media people, but my actual friends, it was something that they really didn't understand. Because like you said, when you was like, why sports management? It's foreign to a lot of people. Yeah, they knew I like sports. They know, I'm always at a game. I sing the national anthem for the Dallas Mavericks, been doing that since '06. So that made more sense to them, because I sing, that's what I do. That's okay. But actually talking about sports every week, they didn't get that. And even my mom last week, she was like, what's your end game with this? my mom know how I feel about sports, but all she's ever wanted me to do was, sing for the Lord and possibly be a minister. That's it. Anything else she really does not care about. However, I think it's becoming more real to her, because I'm like, at first I would share stuff with her, and she, it kind of hurt my feelings, because again, it's your parent. And, but now she's coming around a little bit. So it was, it's something to get used to. I spoke with the lady that works for, I interviewed her from Fox Sports last month, and she said, don't be discouraged. She actually said it on the show. She was like, your friends will not be your supporters, and it's okay. So, it's okay.
It comes down to a level of their comfort, because in their mind, you're doing something different and you're stretching yourself and you're going in a different direction than they had you in the box for.
Right.
And, when I made the decision to move and write the book and speak and do all of these things, everybody was like, that's Debbie Allen.
Yeah.
What you doing? But there was a part of me that nobody knew, because I spent a huge portion of my adult professional life outside of our hometown. People remembered us for what they saw us at in junior high, high school, college.
Right.
And then those things that really blossomed in us as adults, they didn't really see, because we weren't living there. So some of it is that, but you definitely have to make the decision. Your why has to be so strong that no matter what anybody says or does, or doesn't say or doesn't do, that it doesn't deter you from pursuing. Because I'm with you 100% on the whole. If I post a picture, I got a picture I posted a week ago that's still getting likes, still getting comments. I posted about an upcoming event. And it's crickets. Okay. So, it's one of those things that we do, unfortunately, because of the social media age we live in, we are looking for the likes and the shares and the comments.
Right.
But we have to find other ways to, in a sense, validate what we're doing. And a huge portion of that comes from within us. That's our purpose, our vision. So, as you are into your second year of your podcast, and kudos, girl, do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
where do you want to take this? What ultimately do you want to have happen? I mean, you're starting to interview people who are on the national stage, which means that they're seeing you, they're watching you. So where do you want to see yourself in, 5 years?
Syndicated. That is my goal. Before I answer that, I actually in 2015 was when I first started trying to do She Say Sports, and it was supposed to be, and the reason why I named it She Say was because the show was actually centered around 3 women. I wanted a group, a panel, if you will, to do the show. And before I go, I've never played, basketball, never played basketball. I am so not coordinated when it comes to that. However, I started the first Jackson Kickball League back in 2012.
And she had me out there, y'all.
I did. But what's so amazing to me, we had 6 teams the first year. And people, it was so funny to me. People would be at the, like by the gate, and was like, I want to play, like we were kids, and it was and I was like, you got to try out and you got to wait till next year. I mean, we had rules and regulations. It was serious business. And, but that's the only sport that I've ever played. And 2015 happens. I, started working on the show, and I was just going to do like I'm doing now, a podcast, but a friend of mine heard what I was doing, and he, asked me to maybe thinking about doing it for one of the local radio stations. And we would practice, and it just was not meshing. The people that it just wasn't gelling. And that's because it was my baby. It wasn't theirs. And that's one thing that, and this, everybody can't come with you. It doesn't mean that you don't love them, or because I've always been that friend. Whatever I do, I've always tried to bring my friends with me. And sometimes it's been a downfall for me because it keeps me, because God is like, it wasn't their vision, it was yours. And so it didn't work out with the radio station, nor with the young ladies that was supposed to do the show with me. And one of my sports mentors, Wesley Peterson, he was like, you need to do this show by yourself. And I was like, oh, no, because I was afraid. And I was like, no, I'm going to find 2 other ladies because I wanted somebody who actually played sports to actually give their point of view, a different point of view of sports, how they see it, being an athlete versus just me being a fan. And so he was like, no, you need to do this by yourself. So from 2015 until 2018, it never left me. The dream never left. It was in me. It was in my heart. And so I was afraid, but I reached out to another sports mentor, Charles Bishop, and I asked him, did he know of any producers? And he introduced me to Mike Prince out of Prairie View, Texas. And the rest is history. So I was afraid to do it then, but sometimes you have to do stuff in fear to move. You can't just stay there and be paralyzed because you'll never get it done. And I felt like God gave me this vision. And so what was the question you asked me, Tracie? I'm sorry.
No, you answered it in the process about, where are you seeing things going, and the things you've had to overcome to get to this point. And it's one of those things that people always say, well, I'll do it when I stop being afraid. But you don't stop being afraid of it until you step out.
That's true.
And truth of the matter is, anytime I pick up my phone to do a live, I'm freaking out on the inside. Like seconds before I hit the live button, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't do this.
Oh my God. It freaked me out.
And it's an assumption that because you're doing it, that you're doing it and you're comfortable with it. No, you get more comfortable the more you've done it. And, you know, it's that thing of really deciding to do it afraid.
Mhm.
That's part of having faith that, okay, God gave me this vision. He gave me this purpose, and he's given me what I need to accomplish it. So I got to step into the Red Sea.
You got to do it. You have to do it.
You have to. And so, you know, being a year on the other side of, you know, of starting and doing afraid, so to speak, you know, facing the fear. Are you still afraid?
Yeah. Even when I'm singing, you know, I there's a little nervousness, and in a sense that's kind of good, because when you get to the place where you're not afraid, then you believe in the hype. You know what I mean? And 3 weeks ago, I interviewed Terry Cummings. He was in the NBA for 18 seasons rather. Played for DePaul. He was even on Love and Basketball. And I was freaking out when he said yes. I've had, you know, I've interviewed NFL, NBA players, people working for the Vikings, and it freaks me out and that I'm doing this and they're actually talking to me. And they don't know me. They don't know me, but it's the favor of God. And that's all I can say, because even when I reach out to them, I'm nervous as heck. But when I get that yes, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on the, you know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I love it. So I'm glad I just didn't give up. But yeah, I'm still nervous sometimes. But after I talk to them before we get on, you know, it's because we talk maybe like a minute or two, and I'm okay. And it just starts flowing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's one of the things that's hard to explain to someone who has a vision and they're afraid to step out.
Mhm.
It's hard because they sit there and they look at you and they say, "Oh, well, you're different." No, we're no different than you are.
That's right.
The difference is you haven't taken the first step yet and allowed God to put the provision in your path. The provision's there, just like you were trying to find the right women to be with you to do this. And oftentimes we try to hook ourselves to folks. And I've done it myself numerous times, trying to, you know, bring folks with me. But ultimately, the people who will work with you are the ones that you'll find as you begin to go on the journey.
Right.
And I think that's a key component to being a successful entrepreneur, is stepping out there and going after it. So oftentimes as a woman in business, and for you, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You're a woman in business and you're a woman in the business of sports.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Do you feel like you've had to sacrifice anything to be able to accomplish your goals? You know, have you had to give something up?
Not really. That's what's interesting. Only thing, no, not really. It's when I say it's been so fun for me and a joy, I haven't really been having to give up anything. And that's because I think as it progresses and get to another level, you and I talked about this maybe about a month ago, and then a couple of people said it last year, and I think that's when it's gonna be different for me. People they like, why aren't you doing live or videos? It's that fear again, because it's like I hide behind the podcast. You know, you don't have to see me. But I know that it's time for me to take She Say to another level. And what you said to me was, you do know it's time for you to do video, right? And I was silent, because it was just confirmation. I know, and I'm working on some things now. I'm working on some things, a platform that'll be right for me and She Say. So it's interesting, but right now, no, I haven't had to give up anything too much. But I know when it comes to this YouTube and recording and stuff, that's gonna be, and before I go any further, Tracie, you know me, and like you said, I'm when I say can be the life of the party, have fun, I enjoy my friends, but I'm very, very shy, and nobody believes that. And I'm like, I am. If I don't know you, I'm very, very quiet, and I would just sit there and not say anything. I really feel like, and I feel like I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies. And my friends, a lot of people, girl, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can't help it. God gave me gifts to sing and be in front of people. But if you notice, a lot of people who are entertainers, they're very shy. When they're not in front of a camera, they're very like at home, just homebodies, don't do a lot of things. And I'm kind of like that, even though I love people. And maybe I am not an introvert with extrovert tendencies. Maybe life just made me like that. Stuff happens through going through stuff, and as you grow older. So, but yeah, this video thing, that's gonna be different.
Yeah, I mean,
Very.
it's being that person who, I know I'm an extrovert because I feed off of people's energy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that I have to be very careful about who I'm around.
That's true.
Because you'll feed off the wrong energy. So, and I'll tell y'all this, anybody that's watching this that says that Sonja is not an introvert and she's not shy, I'm telling you right now, as her friend, yes, she is. Because when you shift her into a space where she's unfamiliar, she's going to sit back in the cut and she going to watch and she going to figure out if she can speak up and what and how to move. But that's the thing. And I think that's one of the things that is going to benefit you as you grow your programming, as you grow in the industry, is that because you are that person that can cut it on when you need to cut it on,
mm-hmm.
But it's also going to be beneficial to you that you can cut it off when you need to be able to cut it off. And I find that, in this space of being a public figure, a lot of people do it for all the wrong reasons. And I think, honestly, most introverts end up weathering the process better than people who are naturally extroverts, because we get drawn into this mess real quick and we don't pull back, we fall into it. So just as you are beginning to step from behind the camera to in front of the camera, yes, you're stepping in front of the camera. And what vision do you have? Can you share one thing that you ultimately want to accomplish? Do you want to be the next Jane Kennedy in the Tab commercial? What?
Not with that nasty stuff. No. I guess I would like to be, definitely the next Jane Kennedy. But it's, it's so many. It's, Carrie Champion. It's so many women, Black women. And that's what I love. I listen to Jamil Hill and Carrie Champion's they have a podcast. I enjoy listening to them. I enjoy watching them on ESPN, and when they were with them at the time. Tiffany Green, which is your soror, I met her at the Celebration Bowl back in 2019, and she's HBCU Game Day sports analyst, and she's really, really good. So there's so many Jane Kennedys now, but I want to be in that number. And yeah, that's my ultimate goal, even though it freaks me out I now, I'll be like, oh my God, hi, my name is Sonja. And she says, well, so, I know how to get it together, but at first, oh yeah, it's a little freaky, but, I think I'm getting more comfortable as the time goes by after each interview. So yeah.
Yeah. And and I'll be looking for my tickets when you hit the sidelines. I do like all sports. Thank you very much. So you heard her listen. You heard her mention sorority, right? Okay, I know some of y'all think that I only interview AKAs. I do not. This is a beautiful, dazzling woman of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
All right. So she is my sister. She is my Greek sister.
That's right.
And we support each other in the things that we do. And it's an important thing for us as women to be confident in the things that we do, even in the face of fear.
Yeah.
And so as we wrap up this interview, what is one piece of advice you want to leave with the women entrepreneurs that are watching this, and also the men, if they decided to join us today?
Okay. Well, one, like I mentioned, do it afraid. Don't allow your fear to paralyze you and not do what you feel like you were on this earth to do. That has kept so many people doing something that they don't love to do, being in a job that they don't like. And, and when I'll put it to you this way, when you would do it for free, that's the love. That's what you really want to do. So that's one part of the advice. And the other part would be, stop looking at the money part. Like, I don't have the money to start. I don't, if God gives you the vision, he will give you the provision. It does not matter, just start doing something. Write out, the goals that you want to start, write out the name, right? Whatever you need to do, just start doing something, because it doesn't cost anything to get a pen and to paper and put it to paper. The Bible even tells you to write the vision, to make it plain, so that when you read it, you will run with it. And that's the whole point. You got to run with it, whether you're afraid or not. Tracie mentioned walking through the Red Sea. And what's amazing to me about what's amazing to me about God, he's so dramatic. And that's another thing, and Tracie, we drama girls, people be like, you're so dramatic. And so at first it used to hurt my feelings when people would say that. And I'd be like, well, and then I thought about it. I said, well, my father is dramatic because, and I'm just like my daddy. I'm just like Father God, because he could have just let the Israelites get to the promised land, but he had to let them go through the Red Sea. And think about it. The waters was on the side. They were walls with whales and fish and everything just swimming, but they walked through. He didn't have to do that. Going to Canaan was a 11-day journey. It took them 40 years. It was all about teaching. So I'm dramatic like my father. Daniel in the lion's den, all of that is drama. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He could have just let them, snapped his finger or whatever, and that would be where they needed to be. So yeah, I'm dramatic like my father. But the point is, you gotta just keep moving. Write it down. Don't forget about money. It's a lot of things that you can do as an entrepreneur that money, you don't need it right then. Just start something somewhere. And if God sees you doing that, and that'll even encourage you to keep moving and start finding funds and sponsors of what you need done. So yeah, and be confident and keep people around you that encourage you and will tell you the truth. So.
Absolutely. Especially that part about people around you who will tell you the truth. Not folks who use the truth to try to tear you down, but the ones that I describe it like this, because Sonja is one of these people that I consider to be a part of my front row. Okay.
And Tracie, part of mine.
And my front row is the person that starts the standing ovation when I'm on stage. Okay. That if I fall on stage, they will be the first person to me to help me get back on my feet.
That's right.
And then if I make a fool of myself and I'm doing something stupid on stage, they're going to pull me off stage and they're going to correct me in private. That's what your front row should do. Your front row should never embarrass you in front of people. It's about, come here, let me talk to you real quick.
Right.
Cut the camera off. Come over here. And that's what you need to get through. So thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your story. And for those of you who want to connect with her, who have not already subscribed, look below this video. There is a link to subscribe to She Say Sports. And let me tell you something. You better keep an eye on this woman, because amazing things are on the way. And let me just say this right now. When she make it big, I didn't say if, I said when she makes it big. Y'all remember, you saw her here first. Okay.
That's right. Exactly. Remember that. Thank you so much. This has been a true honor. Again, not used to being interviewed, but doing the interview, but this was fun. You made it very comfortable for me, and I appreciate it.
You did a great job, darling. Yes.
Thank you.
So everyone, I want to thank you for joining me again today. And I will be back soon with yet another profile of an amazing female entrepreneur. And in the meantime, remember this: no matter what happens, just do it regardless. 0 excuses allowed, y'all. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.